All right, this is now part 2 of the Developing a Perfect Double Stroke Roll series, and today we're going to be talking about medium to medium fast doubles and the technique that is required to play those. When we're playing doubles around this speed, in order for those double strokes to sound really clean and strong, it requires a technique called wrist finger. Sometimes this is called open-close technique. Some people call it drop catch. I like to just think of it as wrist finger because that's the actual mechanics that are taking place within the stroke. So what I mean when I say wrist finger is that the first note of the double is executed with our wrist, and we're going to allow the stick to kind of naturally open up our back fingers in our hand. And for the second stroke, the back fingers are going to snap to get that second note. Now you'll notice after I snapped my hand closed on that second note, I want the stick to end up and I want my wrist to be in a position where it can play another stroke. So oftentimes I'll see some people do wrist finger where they will close the second note and get a nice snap with their hand, but the stick is ending down. And when we're actually playing doubles back to back, the stick has to end up to prepare for the next stroke. So even at the slower tempo when we're practicing this technique, it's important to make sure that after your fingers snap on that second stroke, our stick is ending up and our wrist is primed to do another double. So if you've never experimented having your fingers be part of the stroke, this is going to feel totally weird and new to you. So it's really important to go slow and practice just doing one wrist stroke, allowing the stick to rebound and be primed with these back fingers, and then closing for that second stroke. So really slow if we do a couple of those back to back. Wrist, finger, wrist, finger, wrist, finger. The other thing you can think about is really making sure you're getting a solid finger snap on that second note so it's nice and strong. And practice this in both hands. If you're struggling trying to understand what this is supposed to feel like to use your fingers for that second stroke, something you can also do is hold the stick kind of like this, and so gravity is causing the tip of the stick to go like this, and just feel what it feels like to have your fingers be the thing that's moving the stick and not your wrist. So really trying to isolate the fingers in that movement there. A simple exercise we can do to start putting this into a musical context is if we think about triplets, triplet, 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 the first and third note of the triplet we're going to play all with one hand, and if we keep looping that, it's going to sound like this. We can play this with both hands as well. So essentially 2 measures of this phrase with one hand, and then 2 measures of this phrase with the other hand. 1, 2, triplet, triplet. And what I'm thinking about is the second note of each of those doubles, snapping my fingers closed to get that note. This technique feels a lot more natural at the medium and medium fast tempos, so if you play this too slow, the mechanics feel really awkward and they don't quite work. So make sure we pick a tempo that's around medium to medium fast. Let's try looping this a bit. Now it might actually look like my wrist is doing both of those strokes, but what actually is taking place is my wrist is kind of a sympathetic movement on that second note. My fingers are snapping closed, but I'm allowing my wrist to still make sure that I end up to prepare for that next note. Let's try that exercise some more a little bit faster. Again, the goal of this is to make both notes sound equal and really think about getting a good finger snap on every second note. Another exercise for building these double strokes that's very common and popular, and one that I like to do with my drum lines all the time, is one called ABC or double beat. You might have heard of it before. I'm going to post a link to the PDF of this exercise down in the description. So as we play through this, make sure you follow along, because I'm not going to do a deep dive breakdown of this exercise. But the concept is still the same, just now we're thinking in 16th notes and 8th notes. Every double that occurs within the exercise, I'm going to think about using my fingers to help snap closed on that second note. And on the final section of this exercise, where we're having to do 3 notes at once, thinking about having my fingers help out for that second and third note of the triple stroke. So again, follow the PDF in the description, but here is the ABC double beat exercise. Again, still working on getting those fingers to snap for that second note of the double. And for this exercise as well, I'm thinking about the evenness of my doubles, making sure that both notes are equal in volume and are feeling good in my technique. With this wrist finger approach, we really want to start pushing our max speed, because this is going to help us bridge the gap between fully letting the doubles bounce at the very fast speed and having that sound a little bit too weak, versus the medium to medium fast speed being able to actually still stroke it out and have a nice full sound. Let's try playing ABC even faster now. This technique definitely takes a long time to develop, and I know for me personally, it took a long time for my body to understand what it feels like to get these fingers to help out with that second note in the double. So do not worry if it takes a while to have this feel comfortable. It takes time and lots of practice and patience. So think about those two exercises as you work on your wrist finger technique and you work on your double strokes from the medium to medium fast speeds. Get lots of repetition, lots of practice, and in the third video we're going to be talking about very fast bounced doubles. If you appreciate the content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.